Hey, what's going on guys, hey Grouch here. I'm just gonna go out and say, I freaking love this anime. As someone who's dedicated a lot of time to playing a certain MMO, and I do mean a lot, never did I think an anime would ever be made that would take place in one. Aesthetic doesn't even begin to describe how happy I was when I first found this anime. You can hate on it, call it overrated, whatever the hell you want, but I personally really enjoyed this one. But anyways, I've gotten a few requests already to do a facts video on this, so here it is, 10 facts about Sword Art Online. Also, this video does contain a good amount of spoilers, so I'm gonna go ahead and drop the spoiler warning for anyone who hasn't already seen the series. And yeah, that's it. Number 1. While most animes usually go off of a manga as its original source material, the story of Sword Art Online was originally introduced as a series of light novels. The series was first put up online before being published and becoming a global success, having sold over 16 million copies. Unlike the anime, however, the novels take a different approach and instead tell the story in a very straightforward first-person perspective following Kirito, and goes on to explain what the game is like for him as a player. The first novel of SAO tells the story of the time that the game is released up until Kirito's final battle with Heathcliff, where he is finally able to escape the game. The second light novel, on the other hand, takes a step back and is composed of a number of short stories, all of which take place at random points scattered around the first book. And it is within these short stories where characters such as Silica, Lisbeth, and Yui are first introduced to the readers. What the anime does is that it takes the events from both novels and combines them into one, putting together all the events in a chronological order. And as for the manga, well, let's be honest, who really gives a shit? Number 2. As with most of the MMOs that we see today, Sword Art Online follows a leveling system revolving around a variety of different skills. However, out of all the skills in SAO, there are a few that stick out from the rest, known as the unique skills. Unlike the basic skills in which anyone is able to learn, train, and level up, unique skills are given to a single player that is able to meet certain requirements. A total of 10 unique skills were revealed to be within the game. However, we only really got to see 2 of them. The other 8 were never shown within the series. However, the names of 4 were revealed during an interview with SAO's creator Riki Kawahara. These 4 named skills include Infinity Spear, Shuriken Jutsu, Battle Jutsu, and Darkness Blade. It was also mentioned that these 8 skills would have been awarded to players once floor number 90 had been cleared, but it never ended up happening due to the fact that Kirito managed to defeat Heathcliff on floor 75. The 9th skill is known as the Holy Blade, and it belongs to Heathcliff, which he received for becoming the strongest player in the game. The final skill is of course Kirito's Dual Blades, which is awarded to the individual with the fastest reaction time within the game, making him the only player with the ability to dual wield swords. But then there's this guy. Okay, well, what the fuck, Grouch, you just said no one else can dual wield weapons. Well, there have been a number of different theories as to why this character is shown to be dual wielding a pair of axes within the anime, although due to the fact that this character was never mentioned or shown within the manga or light novels, it's more likely than not it was just an error made by the animation team and nothing more. Number 3. Kirito's self-made PC isn't just an ordinary gaming computer, it actually uses a 24 GHz octa-core processor. To put that into comparison, the most powerful processor available today is the Intel Core i7, which has a base speed of a measly 4.2 GHz. Number 4. When Reki was coming up with Kirito's character, he wanted to create someone who did as he wished without having to think of the consequences. He has stated that Kirito is the type of person he always wished he could become, and that he always seemed to hesitate to act on things. He did, however, mention that if there was any point of similarity between Kirito and himself, it would have to be the fact that neither of them are good at forming parties, and that they tend to play solo in a lot of these games. He's also said that he wrote the series with the desire to change people's negative opinion about online gaming, with the hopes that people will become more open to it and view it as not such a bad thing. Because, you know, trapping thousands of players within a virtual world where death awaits you around every corner is sure to accomplish just that. Number 5. When I mentioned Riki was a hesitant individual, I wasn't just exaggerating. It took him 7 years just to get up the nerve to apply his work for the Dengeki Award, which was actually the whole reason SAO was written in the first place. The winner of the award would have their works published by ASCII Media Works and receive their novel imprint. Seeing as SAO is how we know it today, I'm pretty sure you guys could have guessed how it went for him. He never even submitted it. It would only be a few years later that he would win the award after submitting his other popular work known as Axel World, and it was only after its publication that he was encouraged to publish his earlier works as well. So in other words, without Axel World, there might not have been a Sword Art Online. Since then, both SAO and Axel World have been some of Reki's most successful works, and he's even created a crossover between both series known as Versus. Number 6. When Sword Art Online was first released, it had a recommended age rating of 14 and over. However, much like real-world scenarios, there were players who were below the recommended age rate. Silica was one such player, and she was only 12 years old at the time the game was released. Her display name Silica is another name for the compound silicon dioxide. The way she ties her hair is meant to symbolize the oxygen atoms that are bound to her. Number 7. Something that I feel keeps a lot of people interested in the series is the developing relationship between Kirito and Asuna. Heck, I'll even admit it, there were a few moments in the series that got me in the feels. That's right, I'm not ashamed to admit it, even a grouch can feel too, you know. But have you ever stopped and wondered how different the series could have been had they had never met? It is revealed within the light novels that it was actually Asuna's older brother who was meant to play SAO on the launch date and not her. The only reason he never ended up doing so was because he was called last minute for a business trip overseas. Asuna, curious about experiencing the virtual world for herself, asked her Nissan if it would be okay to use his nerve gear to try the game on the day of the launch. She then entered the virtual world of SAO, unaware that it would be over 2 years later that she would finally wake up from it. Number 8. Only last month, a video was made by IBM Japan which announced that it was working on a virtual reality project known as Sword Art Online: The Beginning. The project uses a next-generation computing system known as the Cognitive System, which would be supported by the Oculus Rift and HTC Vive and could be played using your body. Essentially, SAO in real life. Between the 18th and 20th of March 2016, 208 individuals were selected to be alpha testers and were able to partake in a sort of demo. Those who participated in the alpha test were given a 3D scan of their entire body and were strapped with motion sensors along with a pretty long list of other things, but I can't be fucking asked to list it. The players soon found themselves within the world of SAO and were able to interact with one another, pick up items, access the game's interface, and were even given a boss in which they had to defeat together as a party. Virtual reality for SAO had finally been created. Bullshit. Oh, you guys are gonna hate me for this. Unfortunately, in the end, it was revealed that there was some slight miscommunication about the entire project and it wasn't actually meant to be a game at all. The whole thing was revealed to be just a marketing stunt by IBM, even though the way it was advertised would have you thinking otherwise. However, seeing as how virtual reality is becoming a bigger and bigger thing with more and more companies getting involved, it's pretty safe to assume that we will see something similar sometime in the future. But sadly, as of right now, there is currently no SAO virtual reality game in development. Number 9. Although virtual reality isn't quite here yet, there is a few Sword Art Online video games that are currently available. That's right, there's a video game about a video game. That's some real Inception shit right there. The games currently available include SAO Infinity Movement, Hollow Fragment, Hollow Realization, and Lost Song. And there are a few mobile games as well, but most of them are only available in Japan. Kirito, Asuna, and Lifa also make an appearance in Denkai Bunko Fighting Climax, I think, which is a 2D arcade fighting game which features characters from a variety of light novels published by ASCII, the same publishers of Sword Art Online. Number 10. If you're anything like me, the whole reason you probably even know of SAO's existence is through the extremely successful anime. I'm sure there are some of you diehard fans watching, but as for myself, I definitely can't say I'm one of those. However, something about the anime that always annoyed me was the fact that Kirito was in his bed when he gets trapped in SAO, but wakes up in the hospital room when he escapes it. How was he able to be transported without being cut from the game? After all, the rules given by Kaiba in the first episode were pretty simple. There were 2 ways a player can die: if a player's HP reaches 0, and if there's some sort of interference from the outside world. Kirito would have had to have been cut from his home connection at some point during the transport between his room and the hospital. So, what was it then? Well, for whatever reason, the anime decided to leave out a lot of other specific information that was only mentioned in the light novel. It is stated that if a player is cut from a source of electricity for 10 minutes, or if they are cut from the system for more than 2 hours, the player's brain would be fried by the nerve gear, and of course die. Kaiba also mentions that he released the current locations of all the trapped players within the real world, With this information, authorities were able to quickly find and relocate everyone to hospital beds before the 2-hour time limit was up. Some pretty crucial information if you ask me, but as with most anime adaptations, Sword Art Online has some slight alterations when it comes to the original source material. In the web version of the story, there were 50,000 players trapped within SAO, but the number was dropped to 10,000 with its publication. However, seeing as the web version has been completely removed by Riki Kawahara himself, let's just go over what we know from the published novels. On the 7th of November 2024 at 2:55, when Kirito defeats Heathcliff on the 75th floor, 6,147 of the 10,000 trapped players in SAO were finally able to log out. The remaining 3,853 players unfortunately all perished. More than half of those which died within just the first month of playing. The death tally adds up from players being killed in-game either by monsters or other players, interference from the outside world such as having their helmets forcefully removed, and even in-game suicide. Sometime between the time that SAO was beaten up until the time it gets shut down, one of Akihiko Kaiba's former colleagues and rivals, that guy, manages to hack its servers and obtain the minds of 300 SAO players, including Asuna, which he used for research on controlling emotions and memories within the new virtual reality MMO, Alfheim Online. Until he gets his shit kicked in by Kirito, of course, and releases Asuna from his control, finally putting an end to the hellish nightmare for both of them. Until Season 2, that is. And there you have it, 10 facts about Sword Art Online. Hopefully you guys learned something new. As always, I try to dig up the best facts that I could find, but I'm sure there's going to be that one guy in the comment section who knew every single one of these and everything else apparently on the internet. But in all seriousness, guys, I'm sure there are facts out there that I was bound to miss, so if you know of any that I did not mention in this video, leave it in a comment below. Also, go ahead and comment SAO down below to let me know you made it to the end of this video. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, I'd appreciate it if you could tap that like button if you enjoyed, and subscribe for future videos. If you have an idea for a top 10, leave a comment down below. I make top 10s of just about anything. And with that being said, I'll thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.